Tesla cars have a lot of really cool features that are hardly ever talked about. But did you know that if you have enhanced autopilot or if you paid for full self-drive, that your car might be able to park for you? And I'm not talking about parallel parking when you're in the car or when the car parks between two different lines. I'm talking about when you get out of the car and go into your house. The car continues on and parks in your garage. See? That's me. So the question is, with all the advancements that have happened since I made my last video in 2001 about this, has it gotten better? Today, we're going to find out. But a few important details first. Since I always get asked what kind of cameras I'm using in videos like this, here they are. Most of the exterior and interior shots come from the Insta360 Go 3 that we just did a review on. All the cool looking kind of first person view shots come from the Insta360 X2. And the drone shots are from the DJI Mini 3 Pro. I will link all the cameras in the description. Like I mentioned earlier, you cannot use this feature we're going to talk about today without upgrades. The only way to have this ability is if you've paid for the full self-drive, or if you have enhanced autopilot, which you can now get on Tesla credits. Also, pay attention to the kind of messy garage that I have that we're going to be testing this in. If your garage looks different or is different shape and all that, it's going to respond differently. Now here's what you can expect in this video. First, how to engage Autopark and what are the settings. A quick word from today's sponsor, followed by me begging you to like and subscribe. We're going to test going forward straight. We're going to test going forward at an angle. We're going to keep narrowing the gap of my garage in a very sophisticated way until it fails. We're going to test it in reverse. We're going to answer the question, what's the point? And then conclude if it's actually gotten better. Now, let's get on with it, shall we? To engage Autopark, it is really quite simple. If you use a password in your car, first you must enter it. If not, then all you need to do is make sure your foot is off of the brake and the car is in park. Then simply press the park button twice. I want to emphasize, your foot cannot be on the brake. Most of the time when there's an issue with it, it's because your foot is on the brake. Take it off. When you double press the parking button, you can either half press or full press, makes no difference. Then this screen will pop up. You choose a direction you want to go by tapping the arrow of that direction. Then simply get out of the car and close the door. Your mirrors will automatically fold and the car will just go. Now, since this is part of the summon feature, you can adjust some of the settings in the summon settings. Well, it's a tongue twister. Such as how close you are comfortable with your car getting close to objects. For example, I have mine set at the closest setting. Now, before we get too deep into this, if at any time you're using Autopark and you become uncomfortable, you can always cancel it by just simply grabbing or pressing any of the door handles. This will instantly terminate Autopark and stop the car. And yes, you will see me do this shortly. Now we are about to start running all those really fun and entertaining tests, but as promised first, check this out. I partnered up with Extra to bring you guys an exclusive discount up to 25% on their wallets. These are some of the coolest wallets I've ever seen. Check these out. This is the carbon fiber option, and check this out. With one press, it pulls all 6 of your cards out of here, allowing you to easily get access to them, and when you're done, pop it right back down inside and they're locked back in again. It comes with this rubber band you can use to hold your money. As well, on the other side, you have this expansion pack here for additional cards. But if you want to go really simple, you can remove the expansion, or you can remove all of it for a very low profile wallet that fits 6 cards. You also have other options like this space grade aluminum with an AirTag holder, as well as the expansion plate, as well as this different design called a Parliament wallet that you can actually open up, have some cards on the side, a little money clip, and you get all your 6 cards in there. Also, if you don't want the AirTag band, but you do like the idea of having a trackable wallet, Extra does sell different accessories like this tracking card. Just slide it into your expansion plate, and just like that, your wallet is now trackable through an app on your phone. And of course, I'll put the discount code and link down below in the description. Thank you guys for watching the sponsorship videos, and I'm so thankful for my sponsors. It's what allows me to keep making videos. And speaking of that, if you want to support this channel, the best way you can do that yourself is to go down and just hit that like button for me. It really helps the algorithm, as well as of course subscribe for more videos. Now to start the trials, I kept the gap of my garage as it is normally, which is around 11 feet. I will show you the first clip here at normal speed so you can see the speed that it does this, but for most of the future videos, I'll speed them up to make it more interesting. As expected, you can see it handled this perfectly fine, leaving lots of room in front of the car and plenty of room behind the car to close my garage. Now pay attention to the gap here because it should be consistent with each time I pull into the garage. On my second attempt, it stopped about 8 feet too soon. leaving the butt of my car sticking out for the first failed attempt. Although I'm happy to say this was the first and only time this happened out of 15 attempts today. Then, using that very highly sophisticated method I alluded to earlier, shrunk the gap of my garage down to 10 feet. Now, when I made this video back in 2021, only about 50% of the time it made it in. But after a quick pause to get its bearings, which it does every time just about, it easily completes the job. Next up, I shrunk the gap to 9 feet. Now, my garage overall is a quote 2-car garage, but 9 feet is the average gap for a single car garage. What I found interesting about this attempt was even though there was 1 foot less of space for the car to get through, it didn't even pause. It just went straight into the garage and to perfect measurements without any hesitation, which of course meant moving the gap down to 8 feet. And I have to say, I love the unicorn look that my Insta360 One X2 gives the Tesla. I feel like I should really drive this way all the time. I might get some interesting looks. Anyway, I thought this attempt was not going to work. We're way beyond what I used to be able to do with it 2 years ago. But no, just like the 9 feet, it shot straight through with a little bit of a pause and then went straight into the same proximity to objects as the other ones did. Now remember, the car is 6 feet wide, so at 8 feet, that means there's only a foot on each side of the car. That's getting really challenging for sensors to want to keep going. And of course, that's assuming it's split evenly. And you can see here that on the passenger side of my car, there is only about 6 inches next to that garbage can. Now 7 feet I knew was not going to work, so I tried 7.5 feet. And this is where it failed. It came up like it wanted to, but it was just like an inch or two away from that garbage can, and it just said, nope. Now I did have more than a foot on the other side, so I tried going back and recentering the car myself, but it kind of felt like cheating, and it didn't end up working anyway. It had the same result. So next I tried parking the car at an angle. Now it's important to point out here that I still had the nose of the car pointed inside the garage, so if I were to just drive it straight, the car would have still made it inside the garage, but it would have hit the wall somewhere in the middle. And to my surprise, the car went into the garage, made the correct turns to center itself, and the end result was the same as the other tests. Watch the wheels here as I make that turn in. You can see them turning to straighten itself in the garage. But when I angled it at my camera completely to the side of the garage, I felt like it was saying, you idiot, if you park this bad in your own driveway, why should I do all the work? And it went straight to my camera, making no attempt to turn whatsoever. I even pulled the handle to stop it for that one. I wasn't taking any chances with that camera. Next, I changed the angle to where about 80% of the car would have been fit into the garage if it had just gone straight. And it looked like it wanted to. It sat there and thought about it for a minute, but in the very end, it said, screw it, and took a nap. So the conclusion here is the whole car needs to be at least pointed into the garage so that by the time that the front end gets in the garage, it recognizes that it needs to turn, because on both sides of it, it sees the boundaries, it sees the obstacles, and it would have straightened itself out. But if it doesn't have the sides to use to straighten itself out, it's not going to work. Next was reverse. Now, I won't bore you with all the reverse tests. It pretty much handled it exactly the same as the front test. In fact, the results were so similar, I really couldn't say what the differences were, if any. So then who uses this feature? Who is it made for? I think it would be useful for someone who parks in a very tight setting and would rather not risk opening their doors and slamming it into a rack or some kid's bikes. Maybe you just want to say, haha, look what my car can do to your friend who drives a Prius. Or perhaps you feel, hey, it's 2023, I can't be bothered by this parking my own car business. Whatever it is, it's a fun feature, and in my opinion, it's been improving. Comment below if you use Autopark and why, and don't forget to check out the links for today's sponsor down below in the description, as well as the links for these cool cameras.